So it's probably no surprise to those who have watched my videos before, but I've got an empty tea bag box. I'm going to make some printing plates with it today. So I'm going to use the packaging, the cardboard from here, to make some printing plates, just to have a bit of an experiment. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name's Helen, and if you're new here, each week I like to share a little bit of the art, craft and creativity in my world. So I've been playing with some cardboard plates, but I'm not going to be using them as relief printing as such. I'm printing in a slightly different way, and I'm a little bit inspired by this book. So this little gem of a book has been with me for 20 years or so. And it's one that I picked up in a charity shop. In fact, my daughter was working in a charity bookshop and she said, oh, do you fancy having a look at this? And it is a little gem, Creative Crafts for Today. It is published in 1969. And it basically is an alphabetical list of materials that can be used for different processes. Yes, it's aimed at children, for teachers or whoever working with children in arts and crafts. And I've done a bit of that in my time. So yeah, it was lovely. It's a nice little read through every now and again. A source book of materials and activities. So materials and processes are my thing, love them. And it goes through in alphabetical order of materials you can use and how to use them. And this just makes me laugh every time I open the book. The alphabetical list starts, I don't want to spoil it. Are we ready for this? Now, bearing in mind this is a book from the 60s. Ta-da! The first material. The first material is asbestos. Oh my god. Well, words fail, doesn't it? 60s and 70s, and the first material in the book is asbestos. What you can do with asbestos. So anyway, I'm not going to play with asbestos today. In the back is what have we got? Printing. So in the back, there's all sorts of printing. No, that's processes. Let's have a look at processes. Here we are, printmaking. And they talk about a roll-through print. And I thought, what do they mean by a roll-through print? And basically, it's kind of like doing a rubbing with a roller. And I thought, well, I've not actually done it that way round. So with the you want the block underneath, layer your paper on top, and then you're going to roll the ink on top of your paper, and it takes a rolled rubbing, if you like. So so I thought I'd have a go at doing that with using up some cardboard. They're saying you can do anything, and yeah, you can absolutely do anything, I'm sure. But yeah, anything that you can take a print of, using a roller, like you would when you do a rubbing. So anyway, so this little gem of a book, I thought you might be interested to have a look at that. But it's quite a cutie, sign of the times. So anyway, I played with some. I've made some little blocks here, just with using cereal box card. And I had some very pleasing results, but I want to make some more. So the results I had using these blocks, printing on my very favourite newspaper. So this is just, I laid the blocks out. I've got a little bit of double-sided tape on the back there, and I arranged the blocks, put the newspaper on top, and then I've rolled, and then obviously I've trimmed the paper since. But I actually really like the results. I like the grunginess of them. I've just used a water-based printing ink, and so it's, you know, it's dried quite quickly. I love all this texture marking of the background, but you still quite clearly can see what the blocks are. So I'm going to play around with making some more today, because I want to have a go at printing on some. Oh, I've got some packaging paper here. So this is a sort of serrated packaging paper you get in boxes all scrunched up. So I want to have a go at see if I can print on the packaging paper. I've also got some brown packaging tissue, so I want to have a go at doing that. But I kind of want to do a bit more of have a go with just, can I overlay the colours a bit more? Maybe a bit like the ones I did here last week. And so yeah, I was going to make some sort of negative positive blocks. This was very early maquette type one. I don't think I'm going to put it on a base plate, but I'm just literally going to cut a vessel shape out. So I've got positive and a negative, and put them in a bit more of a random order. Although I like the clean and tidiness of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna make any more of those today. I'm going to just do some positive negative shapes and see where we go from there. I kind of wanted to make slightly smaller vessels to be able to have it as a bit more, not necessarily as a repeat pattern, but as a pattern that covers the paper, that then I could use in future to maybe cover books or whatever. So rather than making an image, I want to make a patterned paper. So that's where we're at the moment. So these I love, and I will use them again. And I want to try and maybe partially obscure the newspapers at some stage, so you know, do an under rolling of another colour, so some of the text is showing through, and then do a print roll on top. So you know, the possibilities are endless, but I do just love all this grunge around the background there. I think I've actually put, yeah, I've got one up on the washing line there as well. Can you see that? Yeah, so I was really quite pleased with those experiments there, but I'm going to just take it a little bit further and have another little play. So today I'm going to cut up this box here and make some blocks from here. Those who have seen any of my other videos will know already that, you know, I am a sucker for using what I've got, using what's easily available. I've got tea dust everywhere, yeah, seeing what happens. I've got lots of tea. See, that could be a similar sort of thing. Actually, yeah. So do a print roll of randomly placed vessels. But okay, we're going to have that one open as options. Yeah, so just having a little bit of an idea in front of you is a good thing. And let's see how we go. Now, bearing in mind, Helen, you want these to be smaller. Let's cut you down as well. So let's just do a little one to start off with. So I want it so I can cut a square around it. So it looks like a vessel. I want the quirkiness of my wonky lines, yeah, we'll see how we go. So with my other ones, I cut the square out first, but I'm wondering whether just cutting a vessel shape out first of all, and then I can decide how big do I want my surrounding negative shape. Oops. So I don't mind that I'm going off my lines, but they do need to kind of join up. So is that going through? Yep. Okay, so I've got a vessel shape there, and I am going to just use my ruler to cut a bit of a block around it. So I've purposefully gone for this gash bit just to start off with. Let's do about there. Okay, so I've got a positive and a negative, so I think I'm going to just kind of work on that sort of size, randomly put them on the surface, and then put my paper on top to roll. Okay, so I'm going to carry on and just cut all of these out, and I will see you for the printing. So I've cut a few, so this is, I think I'm going to have a play with these now. So they can be put in whichever order that I want, or have them random. So yeah, next stop is to get some printing. So yeah, I'm going to leave it for that for the moment, and have a bit of a tidy up and get ready for doing some printing. So I've made my blocks, and yesterday I had a bit of a play. So these, I'm quite happy with these. These were individual blocks underneath that I have rolled over, and I've got some nice results. I think they're kind of nice results. I've been using white, well, these are block printing inks, so they're water-based printing inks. And yeah, I really like the white on the brown again. And then this one is a mix of black and blue to give this sort of dark navy, and I kind of like it, but it's not really getting the effect that I want. So I like the randomness of it. I like the grunginess of it, but there was a bit of movement, and so movement of the block underneath, because they're small, and movement of the paper on top, and then it's difficult to do an all over print because, you know, you're trying to relocate the paper on top. So phase 2, I'm going to have another go today with so I have put the blocks now on a single piece of card. So I have made a repeating block that I can put whichever way round I want. So I'm going to have a go at rolling over that, but because I want to do an all over print, the water-based ink, if I wet my finger, you do get ink coming back off of it. So that's not good if I wanted to use it for book covers or for end papers or anything like that. So phase 2 today, I am going to do some more printing, but I'm going to use some acrylic paints, and I'm also going to have a go with putting in some of my slow drying gel. So this is a De La Rowney. Let's put you there. Slow drying gel. I'm sure you can get all sorts of retarders for your acrylic paints. So I haven't used this in a long time. I have used it. It's an open thing, but again, it's very old. A lot of my things are very old. So I'm going to have a go at doing that and seeing if I can get a bit of a neater all over print. So that's the plan today. So let's get going. So I'm going to use some white and I'm just going to put some paint out. Some paint out and some of the retarder. Okay, so adding more of this will make the paint more transparent. So I don't really want it too transparent, but so that's a little shade less than 50-50. So let's mix all of that in together. I'm using my grungiest roller here, so it's not a neat roller. It's probably it doesn't roll smoothly, but hey ho, I don't want to use my best quality one for this. Because I want grungy results, and actually I don't mind seeing, I'm quite happy to see the edges of the roller on my print. So I don't mind the lines. So I've got a selection of paper again. I'm going to have a go with the packaging paper. So I may just pop some tape underneath here just to hold it in place a little bit. And then I can have some masking tape on here. So I'm going to go pretty much right. Should we go? No, I'm just going to see if I can do a one after another. So I'm going to tape that on there. I can hold it this end. And let's just see. Let's see what the white paper, the white acrylic, that's the beginning of my block, what the white acrylic paint will do. I've kind of lost it a bit there. So let's reposition this. So I'm going to have it so it's rotated. I'm going to line up the block if at all possible. And let's put a top and a bottom on this one. I'm wondering whether just the crinkles of the paper is interfering a bit too much. Yeah, I don't think the packaging paper is quite so good on this one. I wonder if I can just hold tissue. So I'm not getting an overlap. I'm going to do this next one in the middle. It would be better if you did a proper registration and hold it in place, but I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, I quite like that. It's been a fun little experiment using a 1960s book as a starting point. I'm really pleased with these ones. These were my initial trials with the little blocks here. They worked really well. This is printing ink. Printing ink, this is water-soluble printing ink, so it does move. If it got wet, it would bleed again. So I can't use those in a book cover or anything like that. It's going to be handled. You're going to get ink on your fingers. So that's why I wanted to play around with trying to produce some all-over print pattern that I could make papers to cover books with. The block that I ended up making, so I tried these individually, that they moved. That didn't quite work so well for me. Don't know whether it's because it was the size of these individual shapes or whether it's the depth of them, and maybe thicker cardboard might have worked better. But I wasn't getting such a clear print, so I'll show you these in a little while, but I wasn't getting such a crisp print with these, so I ended up putting them on a block. I tried them initially with the water-soluble printing ink. That was fine. With the acrylic, it was less successful. Yeah, I would say it was less successful. I tried it with the retarder, the slow-drying gel, and yeah, it was okay, but not tremendously. So anyway, so these are what I've ended up with here. So printing on newspaper works for me. I really like the quality of the newspaper. I like to see some text coming through. Yeah, I just like the grunge. It adds to the grunge for me. So this one worked well with a bit of different colouring underneath, just rolled ink underneath. The pink is actually, I did try rolling with pink. You can just about see a bottle shape here. It didn't show up very clearly. It wasn't a very opaque pink. So then I went over it with black, and I actually quite like it with the black. So with the blue and the pink underneath, that works well. This is just one of the plain rolled ones, so straight onto newspaper. Yeah, there's elements of that I could definitely use. That's fine. This is white over sort of black and blue mix on newspaper, and I like that one as well. The brown paper wasn't working for me quite so well. Those are just a couple more of white over some pre-painted paper. So this is just telephone directory type paper. Yeah, the brown paper wasn't working for me. I think it's a bit thick. So yeah, I'm not getting such a clear print on this. This is the serrated packing paper. It works better with the tissue paper. It's a thinner paper, but it's still not brilliant. So yeah, less successful with these blocks. And this perhaps is the most successful. So the darker colour on the brown rather than the white. This has worked better for me. So this is just brown wrapping papery type paper. So I've ended up with some collage papers that I can use for various projects. I still really like these. And I've also ended up with a couple of or a collection of cardboard blocks that I can use again. I can try relief printing with them. I can also try putting them on the gel plate. If I wanted crisper printing images, a gel plate would, I think, work much better, but I was going for the grunge. That's why I continued with this. But yeah, these are not going to get wasted. They're gonna, they're gonna go tucked away, and I can use them again. Just another little thing for using the roller as a rollover print. It did work very well, and I did I'll just show you here in my studio journal. So this is one of the glue blocks that I did months ago, and it rolls over that beautifully. So yeah, anything that's nice and clear and sharp like that works nicely. And I just thought I'd show you this. I've done just a little mini sewn book. So this is the acrylic on the newspaper, so it's not going to come off on my hands, so it handles nicely. And yeah, I think it's a cute little grungy covering. So yeah, none of this is going to go to waste. It can all get used. It can get layered up with something else. It can get used like this, which was my intention for an overall print, was to have it so I could use it for either the book covers or the end papers. That's where we're at. So yeah, it's just another fun way of doing some printing, and I like having a play with some materials and processes, and that's exactly what I've done here. So what would I do again? Yes, I would do the rollover print again. I would keep them bigger images. It would work very well over anything textured, so table mats or anything like that. But yeah, I would keep it either as patterns or larger images rather than the little small ones. I would use printing ink. That works very well, but I would need to think about what do I want to use the end result for, whether or not I go down the oil printing ink or whether I go down the water-based printing ink. I initially went for the water-based just for the drying time and didn't really take into consideration, well, what am I going to use these prints for? Yeah, have a go. It's fun. And I'm going to leave you there for today. As always, thanks so much for watching, and have a happy week of creating. So until next time, thanks again. Bye for now.